So, thanks again for having me today. I'm Alessandro Arrichiello, and I'm a specialist solution architect in the Telco Center of Excellence of Red Hat. It's a pre-sales role, so I'm the one actually working with Red Hat Telco customer around Europe to actually create and develop advanced presentation, demonstration, and even proof of concept. Today, I want to talk to you about a big challenge that actually telco customers have these days, and is how to make AI efficient and profitable. As you can imagine, at Red Hat, we believe that the answer is open source. So let's deep dive during the presentation. First of all, let's look at the numbers. Of course, as also mentioned earlier, European telcos spend ton of money every year on infrastructure, but the profit, so the return on capital, is still going down. To actually fix this, AI cannot be just a small test. It must be the main engine of the network in our telco operators to save money and improve efficiency, how actually even Colin mentioned earlier. The Red Hat approach is, of course, based on an open source that actually ensures that AI can drive margin expansion without creating new expensive vendor dependencies. So, what is the Red Hat AI offering? The Red Hat AI is a platform or a series of products that helps you build and run AI anywhere in your data center or in the cloud. We focus on speed and agentic AI, and this actually means that AI is not just another tool that talk or, let's say, write, but actually works to help your network run better. To be efficient, you need, of course, a trusted foundation. Whether you use, for example, physical servers or virtual machine, or even the public cloud, the experience must be the same. This is why we have RHEL AI and OpenShift AI as base products that actually make one platform for every environment, from the core to the edge. Of course, as you can imagine, the entire portfolio of Red Hat is powered by open source technology, and of course, a large partner ecosystem that focuses on performance, choice, and also scalability. Moving to the some of the products, we focus, as you can see from the slide, on inference. This is how the AI actually runs in your network, in your data center, in your edge. We use open technologies like VLLM that we will see in the next slide, so you can actually run the best AI models on many different type of hardwares. And our goal is to make AI fast, flexible, and also easy to scale. So if we look to the slide, actually, you will see that Red Hat AI is composed by OpenShift AI, starting from the right of the slide, and it's our distributed Kubernetes platform environments. Then we have on the middle Red Hat Enterprise Linux AI, that actually is the for individual Linux servers environments. And finally, we also have a very tiny and small offering that is called Red Hat AI Inference, that actually is the optimized inference for large language model that you can even run on a container. So even on public cloud or whatever your environment is. Then if you think about Red Hat AI, is really try to focus on providing support for various kind of hardware accelerator that you will see even in the next slides, but also in the current slides. And of course, any type of infrastructure from cloud providers to on-premise infrastructure and so on. So you actually choose your infrastructure, your AI hardware provider, so the accelerator, and at the end, we will see during the slides and during this presentation, you will be able also to choose your AI model. And again, Red Hat AI offers optimized inference and server runtimes to enhance the efficiency of large language model. As enterprise scale AI workloads, optimizing inference performance is really essential for controlling deployment and, of course, for the maintenance cost. With this open source project, VLLM, as part of Red Hat AI, we have the opportunity to be the de facto inference platform for our customer. This means that VLLM is really capable of running a variety of open source model that, as you can see in the slide, in a very efficient way. So we can also allow those models to run on top of various type of hardware. So basically, it provides a high performance across different kind of hardware platforms. So you choose your use case, then you pick up your hardware, and finally, the best model to run your use case. And talking about the partner ecosystem, we mentioned it earlier. Red Hat does not work alone, as we usually do for our base operating system or for the OpenShift platform. Again, for the AI platforms, we have a huge ecosystem made of our partners. And in fact, we work, for example, with hardware leaders like NVIDIA, Intel, AMD, or even with the public cloud providers like Google, IBM, Microsoft, and AWS. This actually gives you the freedom to choose the best hardwares and tools for your specific AI use cases and needs. So let's recap the architecture of the Red Hat AI platform. You actually choose the infrastructure, deploying it anywhere. Then you choose the hardware accelerator vendor. And then finally, we provide you everything you need to train, to enrich, to deploy, but most importantly, to maintain the AI model. We have to say that the vast majority of the AI models are actually trained on public data from the internet. But telcos have special private data, as you can imagine. So less than 1% of the enterprise data is used in big AI models today. So Red Hat can help you to actually create a trusted-based model and align it with your own private data to actually create real value. So Red Hat goal is to provide a platform that simplifies the process of building, but also for deploying AI workloads, models, and application, while also letting organization managing and scaling resources on demand and across, as you can see, from very different environment, from the data center to the edge. So finally, we can say that an AI solution needs to be integrated to real workflows. And this includes integration to existing data sources, workloads, and application on many, different kind of architectures. Red Hat provides this and even more because our platform is designed to help not only to develop and deploy the AI models, but also to manage the full AI lifecycle, including the application. So including even the classical workloads that are going to powered up by AI inference. So we can give you a simple way to connect models to your data. We provide, for example, even validated models, AI models that are ready to use. And we also help you create synthetic data to train your AI models better, or even to actually feed RAG method through RAG methods any existing AI model. This actually makes your AI solution really cost effective and perfectly fitted to any kind of your business use case. But let's talk in the real life use case. What does it look? We can use AI to improve network quality. We can use it for saving energy, for sustainability, and even for making the infrastructure smarter. This is something that we are going to see in a real use case in the next slides. We are, for example, also working on AI run, where actually AI can help in managing the radio signal to improve the service quality. So Red Hat AI provides a simplified and consistent experience for developers and data scientists to improve the accuracy and the relevance of model response. It does by connecting models to the data and enabling even efficient model customization to actually deliver on-demand use cases. At the bottom of the slide, you will also find a GitHub repository in which you will also find a lot of examples that we developed internally to showcase our AI platform capabilities in some telco use cases. So let's recap again the architecture. Red Hat can support you at every step of your journey. Of course, you can start small, as you can see on the left of the slide, with just one server, for example, and then grow to a very large platform that you can find on the right of the slide. The most important thing is that you can deploy it anywhere, whatever your data and your use case are. So if we are talking about, for example, even about sovereign cloud or private cloud, or even in the public cloud, or again, at the edge. In my opinion, the real differentiator of Red Hat AI platform is that you can see from the picture, actually in the right of the slide, that together with the AI models, you will also host on the same platform any AI-related workloads and even their data. These are the actual and real workloads that will benefit of the AI power to actually enrich a common use case. These workloads could be, for example, the monitoring tool that actually are leveraging AI capabilities, or as we were mentioning before, any troubleshooting or closed-loop automation that will fix your network and so on. So thanks to this kind of architecture and to the fact that under the hood we are using just, a Kubernetes platform named OpenShift, we can not only deploy the AI model, but also any other workloads to complete, but most importantly, to complement your main AI use case. Finally, let me tell you a secret before describing you a real use case example. You don't always need a giant AI model. Actually, smaller models like IBM Granite or any other open model that you will find on the various community are often better. Models with less than 10 billion parameters are cheaper, faster, and use much less power. And so they are really perfect for specific tasks in the telco use cases. Of course, you can then enrich with your data with several kind of methodology. But again, starting small will also help you save money and improve the performance of the overall use case. So talking about a real use case, we will see in the next slides how actually AI ops could be performed with the Red Hat technologies. And of course, we are talking about AI applied to operation. It could be IT operation, it could be network operation, more in general, the classical operational works that we should do day by day in an operational team that could be, let's say, powered up by the AI agent or an AI model to improve the efficiency, speeding up, and reducing any related cost. So together with the AI, in a use case of AI ops, of course, the automation is often the real key for a successful AI adoption. Of course, it depends on various factors like infrastructure readiness. Of course, your infrastructure should be pretty standard so the automation can manage it properly. Then you will also may need some large amount of recipes to solve common problems, together with the tools for alerting and triggering events. So you may need some existing automation scripts or recipes, as we were saying. Then after that, this kind of automation should be tested and ready to use before by the humans, and then after that you may think about attaching it to an AI solution. So you should have the confidence, also for attaching AI to an automation tool. But this is the key. We will see in the next slide that automation can really solve a lot of issues together with AI. That's where actually Red Hat can come in with the Ansible automation platform, bringing an enterprise-ready platform to increase automation speed, reduce human errors, for example, in repetitive tasks, and ensure consistency while improving security and compliance. The nice thing about this platform is that it really has a huge ecosystem, again, that actually enables you to automate from your base Linux operating system sitting in your data center, for example, to your network devices that are actually running at the edge. Sometimes you will also find that some of the Ansible modules, so the extensions needed for example, integrating with some third-party platform vendor or appliances, are actually built from the vendor itself. So, for example, from the network vendor, and not by Red Hat. This because actually this automation technology is really becoming a standard de facto to manage the infrastructure, the networking, and even the public cloud. So as you can imagine, the automation needs an entry point, so a trigger. And this kind of trigger, it could be grabbed by a special feature of this automation platform called event-driven. With this feature, the AI can directly trigger the proper automation workflow, or for example, any external monitoring tool can actually trigger the automation. We have a massive ecosystem and work with whatever observability tool you may have. So we have a comprehensive automation capabilities. And so no matter what kind of automation job you need to kick off, Ansible can actually handle it and help you into creating your own personalized workflow. Talking again about the event-driven technology, as you can see from the slide, we have three kind of phases. The first one, for sure, is the observation, because you have to leverage any existing event source. And as I said earlier, you can also integrate with a ton of leading observability tools that we already tested. And you can see on the slide part of them. Or, for example, you can even integrate with whatever custom tool you have with a REST API call. The second phase is actually the evaluation. It will make actually a decision based on rulebook that are matching the events that you are waiting for starting, for example, the final automation. And then finally, the response phase. Finally, the automation will be started together with the step series needed for solving the issue or creating some resources and so on. So there are many core IOPS use cases that Ansible can help with, from self-healing infrastructure, for example, or support and incident ticket enrichment for actually helping humans in solving any existing issue, and of course, even helping in cost and resource optimization. In the next slides, I'm going to show you a real workflow that we built merging the main two use cases that you see in the slide, so the self-healing infrastructure and the ticket enrichment, with Ansible Automation Platform and together with OpenShift AI, that one of the Red Hat AI platforms. So let's start from a blank slide. I don't like animation, I have to admit, but trust me, we need to proceed step by step to actually explain the complete workflow of this closed loop automation. The first step is where actually the event, the error, the whatever trigger takes place. And in this case, we are simulating that is coming from an operating system, so Red Hat Enterprise Linux, or again, from a network device. Of course, this is the simplest scenario in an enterprise customer, in enterprise company. We are imagining that this kind of event and trigger are coming from a monitoring tool, so from a sort of platform that actually grabbing all those events, filtering some of them, and then forwarding just the errors or the warnings or what is really needing an attention. So first of all, an event takes place. Second step is that we are forwarding this error to the Ansible Automation Platform, to the main engine of the automation that actually received the error, and so we'll go through the various three phases that we saw earlier: the observation, then the analysis, and then the response. In this case, this automation tool can actually even move forward and collect any additional logs. So it can connect to any network devices, it can connect to a cloud platform, it can even be connected to any kind of additional system you may have on your data center or even at the edge. After that, with all this information, so with the initial logs or any additional stuff that it collected, it will pass all those information to an AI model running on top of OpenShift AI, the Red Hat AI platform. And then, of course, is where the inference takes place, actually creating a root cause analysis. We were talking earlier in the previous conversation with BT colleagues that this could be a nice use case. And this is where actually AI can help, because in this case, we are passing the errors, we are passing the logs to the AI solution, and thanks to the knowledge and even to the training that we may have done to the AI model, actually the AI model produces a root cause analysis in a text format with also, for example, some step needed for solving the issue. And we are using this output for feeding the ITSM, for feeding the ticketing system. In this case, it's ServiceNow, but it could be whatever other platform you are using. And with this synchronization, we may update an existing incident in existing ticket, but we can also create a brand new one. So it really depends on the workflow that you choose. All the stuff could be really fitted to your particular use case and to your particular internal processes that you may have on your company. And then, as you can imagine, we are not stopping here, because we are even including some of the self-healing infrastructure. In fact, in this case, we are going to use in step number 5 another tool, another feature that is included in the Ansible Automation Platform that is called Ansible Lightspeed. With this service, we are using, again, AI with just the steps needed for the resolution, asking for creating the automation script, so the automation Ansible playbook for solving the issue. And so the service will create this brand new automation for us from scratch. It will sync with the platform, and then on step number 6, we will be able to remediate the issue. Of course, the human will be in the loop, should be in the loop for the very first phases of the adoption, or even always, depending on your internal processes and the confidence that you have with the AI solution. But again, the platform itself support, for example, survey, support approval. But again, all these kind of workflow can really speed up the resolution of an issue, because the AI may have all the needed knowledge, even multi-domain knowledge. I mean, we also focus on very specific use cases, but AI could be really useful in this kind of stuff where we have initially an operating system, but then we need to collect also some logs from the network devices. So we really can use AI in a multi-domain approach for solving a very extended issue that we may have in our data center, at the edge, or even in the public cloud. So we know pretty well that the AI adoption and any AI use case development, it cannot be a push button. We say this even in the other conversation. But the good news is that you are not alone, because we are not just a software vendor. We can also help you with our expert services. We have, for example, an AI incubator to help you test your ideas very quickly. We can also provide training and guidance to help your team manage AI safely and professionally in production. So to conclude, you may know that Red Hat is one of the leaders in the open source world, but today we are here to be also your trusted partner in the AI telco use cases. So let me thank you all for your time today. And of course, let me thank to the colleagues who organized this such nice event.
Hello, Alessandro. So I have a couple of questions while the audience maybe wakes up and types them in. First of all, I was really struck by a slide quite close to the beginning that talked about one of the keys to success for AI adoption being automation. And then you walked through automation and what needs to happen and why it matters. And I was just wondering, when you talk to telecom operators about AI, are they generally sort of aware of needing to prepare the ground rather than just go with what they have? I mean, I suspect a lot of them just want to get on with the magic, and then find out they've got to go and back to the baseline is not what they want to hear, is my suspicion.
I mean, the problem is that we really struggle to see automation. This also, I mean, it's not really a telco issue, but we see this in any enterprise customer. Automation is really difficult to achieve because you have a variety of software, a variety of hardware. In the telcos, in addition, you may have some network operators joining together. So you can imagine joining two infrastructure, joining two kind of different system with even different regulation internal processes. So I mean, the first step that we usually suggest is to concentrate on the internal business processes. I mean, you cannot do automation if your internal process is still stuck with the old way of doing manual stuff or doing manual tasks in a ticketing system. You know, the first step is to concentrate on internal process. Then, of course, you can still using automation for standardizing your infrastructure. As I said, this is the main prerequisites for starting using automation. Of course, AI in this case can even help, because AI can provide you the knowledge for creating this standardization, you know? So yeah, they are really
a bit chicken and egg, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
It's kind of one feeds the other.
But again, you can use AI for solve these kind of problems also. Not only, you know, for solving the day-by-day work and job and solution, but you can also use AI for adopting the automation for then developing the use case. One of the use cases that I showed, for example, the root cause analysis.
And my other question is, every operator I've talked to about AI, and our friends from BT this morning as well highlighted the point is one of the big difficulties is culture, because you need to reorganize teams, you need to get people on board with different thinking and so on and so forth. And I mean, I wonder if as an outside party, it's actually easier to address this than maybe trying to do an internal reorganization, which often meets with quite stiff resistance unless you explain super well what you're trying to achieve. And even then, maybe not everybody likes it. So I'm just wondering how you deal with that really important but very tricky
Yeah,
aspect.
it could be tricky sometimes, but we often are even developing with our customer some AI use cases that can even empower the existing teams without changing everything, without changing the organization. Because again, the use case, for example, that I presented, it could be adopted by an existing operation team from a network team or an IT team without, let's say, reorganizing the whole team or changing anything. The team will be, of course, speeded up by this kind of process. But again, the overall result will be that this team will maintain the knowledge of the AI system. So you will not always need to reorganize or move people around, because at the end you still need to maintain the AI model. The AI solution is not something that you deploy and you forget. You should feed, you should maintain it, and maintaining an AI solution requires humans, of course, luckily at the end.
Um, okay, and have you found in your experience that once operators see success in one place, then they're much more open to widening AI's role? Is that kind of how it works?
Yeah, sure. I mean, once you start adopting AI, for sure, you want more. I mean, it usually happens even in our life. When you start using ChatGPT or Gemini, you start trust the AI solution and maybe ask more question, feed more use cases. So for sure, yeah, there is an initial, let's say, learning curve for AI.
Yeah.
But then after that, I mean, you can enable a lot of new use cases and you can try to apply. A very important thing is what actually Colin was mentioning is about where to host those AI models. I mean, we are trying to fit our platform to match any customer use case, any customer needs in hosting the AI platform on premise, at the edge, even in the public cloud. But again, today, even most important in Europe, we are talking about sovereign cloud. So again, it's also a matter of where you host the model, because the model should be fed by your own private enterprise data.
Alessandro, thank you very much indeed. That was really interesting.
Thank you so much.